Hello everyone, it is April. Today I'm here to chat about two things with you. We are getting my November TBR here. I'm going to show you all the books that I intend to read in November. But first I wanted to have like a very open dialogue with you about how I've been feeling. I very nearly stopped filming entirely because my mental health has been really not in a good place because of the war. And yes, I'm going to be talking about the war here. And I'm sure some people are not going to want to hear it. I hope that you stick around, even if it's hard. Even if it's hard, because it has been hard. I have spent days at work just crying and like trying to do my work and reading the same articles over and over again and nothing going in. It's been really bad. My mental health has been really bad. And it's been very strange to be like going to work and chatting about my weekends with coworkers. And it's been strange to be going on, you know, Instagram or TikTok or what have you, and seeing people talk about like cleaning their house. I follow a lot of cleaning channels. I don't know why, but anyway, just like the mundane, like normal things in life. It's been weird to go on Booktube and see people talk about books, and nobody's doing anything wrong necessarily. It's just, it feels frivolous right now. And it feels frivolous for me to be posting about books and not being honest with you about myself, because you only see snippets of who I am, right? Like that's how this works. And so you see like bookish me, and that still exists even within this war. But my mind is almost entirely thinking about the war. I'm just thinking about it constantly. And I have so many thoughts and feelings about what's happening and what has happened. And I want to share a little bit with you now. And yes, it's not pleasant. And I hope that you don't click away. It's not fun. Nobody wants a war. I am feeling desperate and fairly powerless. And I'm trying to switch that around in my mind because I've consumed a lot of information. I've seen a lot of videos of what happened on October 7th and also what is happening now in Gaza. And they have shocked me and devastated me. And then to see that and then try to go about your like daily routine and have a normal conversation with people is very difficult to do. And the reason for that, I thought there was something wrong with me, but the reason for that is because we have empathy. And I think for myself, as someone who is, you know, peacefully sitting in her little library at home, no bombs are going to drop on my head. I am safe. My child is safe at school right now. My dog is sleeping in the corner of the room. As someone who is safe and not in the mix of everything, I don't have family in Israel. I don't have family in Palestine. I think it's my duty and my position to bear witness to what is going on and what has gone on. And I think it is my duty and my job to reach out to my politicians and demand certain things to happen. And I will continue to do that. What happened on October 7th when Hamas went in and gleefully murdered thousands of people. This is the most, there are like 15 million Jewish people in the world. And what they experienced was horrific. And I know that you know this. We all know this. It was horrific. And And I feel like what happened was the world was all coming to the Israel civilians' side and saying, my goodness, we're here for you. We're going to mourn with you. We want to sit with you and mourn with you in this. This is the worst attack that has happened since the Holocaust. It was horrific. And then I feel what happened was Netanyahu, the Israeli government, not the Israeli civilians, the Israeli government, retaliated in such a massive way. And there were so many casualties straight away that the world shifted to bear witness to a new atrocity. And I am very concerned for the Jewish people out there who feel like they just saw a terrorist act that was the worst attack on Jewish people since the Holocaust, and no one is grieving with them anymore, and no one is bearing witness anymore, and no one seems to care anymore. And I want anyone who is Jewish, a Jewish subscriber, to know that I am still bearing witness. There are certain things that occurred that will be etched in my mind for the rest of my life. There's a little girl, a man lost his wife and 2 daughters to, they're held hostage right now. And this little girl was being put on a truck or something along those lines. And I just saw the curls and I was like, that could be Nora. And that little girl is going to be etched in my mind for the rest of my life until she is found. I hope she is found so desperately. And I think what has been so difficult for me is that happened, and there has not been enough time for those people to grieve and for all of us to grieve with them because of the insane attacks that are happening now from the Israeli government, Netanyahu. But that government is now, their version of retaliation is makes absolutely no sense to me. I feel that the bodies that I'm seeing are children. The bodies that I'm seeing are women, and I am not seeing Hamas bodies. I would love, honestly, and I know this is a crass thing to say, I would love to see Hamas bodies. I would, which is, you don't want to wish death on anyone, but you know, that's not what I'm seeing though. The fact that they took away water, took away electricity, took away food, access to all of these things. The fact that white phosphorus is being used on them or has been at any time. The fact that they were told to move south and yet they are bombing the south. And there's also not an easy way to get south. It's not this easy thing. The fact that only 4 hostages have been released. Only 4. The fact that the UN has spoken out and said, this is not going properly. This is not being done properly. We have the UN for a reason. It's there to keep us all in line and keep peace. That's the whole point of the UN. It's just horrific. I am watching people on TikTok, people living in Palestine. That is very difficult. I'm having to scale back because I'm realizing the people who need to bear witness, we all need to bear witness. People who need to see these images of October 7th as well as what is happening now. The people who need to see that are the people who are just going about their daily lives and like not really caring. We need to be moved to care. we need to be moved to do action, take action, and demand change. I have written to my Prime Minister asking for a ceasefire. They have since asked for a pause, humanitarian pauses, which is not a ceasefire. I will continue to write him asking for a ceasefire. I've written to my MP asking for a ceasefire, and she did not reply. I also wrote to the NDP leader, Jagmeet Singh, who I love, and he has already asked for a ceasefire, as well as I think it's 20 Liberal and NDP MPs. And so I wrote every single one of them and said thank you for asking for a ceasefire. And I'm also planning to learn a lot more. I've learned a ton since this began because I was not aware. And that is on me, but I was not aware. And so I have 2 books coming, one about Israel and one about Palestine and what is going on in both countries and how they were created and all of those things. And yeah, so I wanted to reach out to you to let you know how I'm feeling about all of this, and encourage you to do something. I encourage you to bear witness. I encourage you to act and ask for what you believe is the right thing for your government to do in this moment. I cannot sit here and do book videos, which, like, yes, books are important, but they're not, like, I read a lot of thrillers. This is frivolous stuff, okay? I can't sit here and do that and pretend that this isn't happening. I cannot do that. That's not in my blood. So that is why we're having this little chat. I know it's hard. It's very difficult, but it needs to happen. And I implore you to talk to your friends and family about it too, because the more people who just sit neutrally, when I say neutrally, I just mean just are not paying attention, not paying witness. I just can't imagine doing that. Like, if it was your family who was slaughtered on October 7th, you would want people to mourn alongside you. And if it was your family who was destroyed in the rubble of Gaza, you would want people to bear witness, even if it's hard, and it is hella hard. So please reach out to, use your voice and reach out. And also please reach out to your Jewish and Palestinian friends and family. I hope they are well. I hope they're doing okay. It's time to dive in to my November TBR. I nearly said October TBR. I'm still strangely wanting to read some thrillers, even though my head is not in a great place, but I guess it just, I don't know, they're easy to just flip through. But I'm starting with the one book that is not a thriller whatsoever, and that is Nigel Slater's The Christmas Chronicles. And the reason, the reason I want to read this in November is because it starts in November. This is almost like an advent calendar where you read little snippets. This has like recipes and stories about winter and what have you. And it starts in November. Now, last year, I didn't know that it started in November. I actually got this for Christmas, but last year I got it from the library and started reading it in December. And I was like, wait a second, this starts in November. I can't exactly keep a library book for that long a time. 2 months is a little bit too long. But now that I have it in my own hands, I'm going to start reading that on November 1st, which is a real treat. That is a book that I found out about from Lauren and the Books. So thank you to Lauren for putting that on my radar. The next book I'd really like to read is The Family Game by Catherine Steadman. This takes place during the holidays. I don't know if it takes place in Thanksgiving or at Christmas time. This follows a woman named Harriet Reed. She is a budding novelist. She's doing well in her career, and she's newly engaged to an incredibly wealthy family. And she goes to their home to meet them over the holidays and meets her, I guess, soon-to-be father-in-law. And the guy is like, "You're a novelist. How exciting. I've written something. I'd love for you to take a look at it." And she reads it. She starts reading it and realizes that it is actually a confession. It's not a novel. It's a confession to a terrible crime and a murder. And she has no idea what to do with this. She's at their home reading this book and going, what in the world am I getting myself into? It sounds like fun. Next is a new release. There are a lot of new releases on this, I will say. This is Good Bad Girl by Alice Feeney. And this follows two crimes. There was a baby that was stolen from a stroller. And then I think 20 years later, a woman is killed at a nursing home. And these things are linked. And we meet three women who are at the helm of these strange crimes that are linked. And that sounds wonderful to me. I love Alice Feeney. Next is something really fun and something I haven't seen a ton of in books, and this is Murder in the Family by Kara Hunter. And in this, you're essentially trying to solve a crime yourself. So you get text messages and emails, and you get like newspaper articles in here. So you, alongside the investigators, are trying to solve this murder. So you're following a filmmaker. As a child, his stepfather was brutally murdered and found dead in the garden of their little family suburban house. There was no suspects ever charged. It just, the case went cold. And he's wondered all of this time what happened. And so we have a podcast, I believe, or a streaming series called Infamous, trying to investigate it now, 20 years, I believe, after the murder took place. And you alongside them are trying to figure out what happened. So I really want to read that really soon. Next up is Will Dean. I've never read a Will Dean, even though I think I have 2 of his books on my shelves. This is the last one, which sounds like a terrifying ordeal where a woman steps on board a beautiful cruise ship with her boyfriend. And everything is wonderful and lavish and beautiful the first night that they're there, and then they go to sleep and she wakes up alone. Not only has her boyfriend just kind of vanished, but so has everyone on the ship. Nobody is around, and she doesn't know what to do. She doesn't know how in the world, if she has to like steer the ship, what would you even do in the situation? It just sounds like a blast. Next is the most recent Frida McFadden. I've heard mixed things about this, but I am still excited to read it. This is The Coworker, and this is about a woman who works at an office building, and she works alongside other coworkers that she gets along really well with. There is one awkward coworker who always seems to say the wrong thing at the wrong time, and she's just awkward and nobody really likes her. She's an incredible worker though. She's always punctual, all of these things. And then one day she just doesn't show up to work. And our main character, Natalie, is wondering what in the world happened to this coworker. And it turns out, I believe, that she was killed. Is that what happened? Yes, I think somebody hated this coworker enough to kill her. And Natalie is wondering if the killer is in her midst. It was The Killer, a Coworker, or what have you. It sounds fun. Frida McFadden, every book that I've read by her, it's just like, you can't put it down. They're not the best like written books that I've ever read in my life, but they're so much fun. So I'm going to read that one. And last, but certainly not least, is 0 Days by Ruth Ware. I love Ruth Ware. Yeah, I just really like her writing style. It's so funny. I read the first Ruth Ware book, In a Dark, Dark Wood, hated it so much. I still don't like that book. But since then, I'm so glad that I picked up other books by her. And this is kind of a lesson. Don't just like nick someone straight away. Anyway, this follows husband and wife. They are security breach specialists. And they're the very best at what they do. They're hired by companies to test how good their security systems are. So they basically try to break it. And one day they're doing this job and Jack, oh no, not Jack. Jack is the wife here. Gabe is found dead. And they only have one suspect, and that is Jack, his wife. And she has to like go on the run. It sounds very different from what she has written thus far, but I'm kind of here for that. I'm kind of ready for that. I appreciate it. So anyway, that is 0 Days by Ruth Ware. Those are all of the books that I am going to read. They are all fluffy. I also do have, I think I mentioned before, 2 books that are coming. They're supposed to arrive at some point. And I will be hauling them, and I'll talk about them then. I'm trying to understand the history of Israel and Palestine a little bit more. And that is why both of these are coming. One is from the perspective of an Israeli, and one of them is from a perspective of a Palestinian, I think an American Palestinian, if I'm not mistaken. So those are coming, and I will be reading those as well. So I hope you are doing well. I hope you are holding up. Sending lots of love to you all. And I was going to say, I'm sorry that this was a hard topic, and I'm not sorry. I have to stop being a woman and a Canadian who we always say sorry. But thank you for listening all the way to the end of this. Thank you for hearing me out and hearing what's on my heart right now. And I really hope that things change and we find some peace, because we all need it. And thank you. I'll talk to you soon. Bye, guys.